Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the fall campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. Sunday, when we ventured to the Silver Twilight Lodge headquarters in return to For the Greater Good, we picked up 4 experience and stole the puzzle box. That now resides in Mandy's deck and will probably need it Sunday. Anyway, in this video we have 5 experience, also counting the one we floated from Return to the Wages of Sin last week, to spend in this video. So we'll spend that experience and then we'll have the tarot reading for Sunday's scenario. We're also going to have a small product unboxing in this video. With that, let's get into this round of upgrades, and as lead investigator from the last scenario, let's go say hello first to Mandy. Hello, Mandy. First things first, we're going to clear your physical trauma for 4 experience per my house rule. If it was a mental trauma, I'd consider leaving it, like I have been somewhat with Jacqueline's mental trauma. By invoking the experience house rule to get rid of a trauma now, barring a disaster, I should be able to get to the end of this campaign. Anyway, what are we going to do for 1 experience? Well, that's where Guided by the Unseen comes into the equation. I liked this card more when I was putting Mandy's deck together for the campaign than I do now. If you could actually draw the card when you use Guided by the Unseen to search, rather than just commit the card you find, it would probably be exceptional and cost double the experience. As such, I've been largely unimpressed with Guided by the Unseen. To that end, we're going to cut it from the deck and add Eon Chart level 4. Before I go through Eon Chart level 4, I want to explain how this is going to work when I have only 1 experience left to work with. One rule I've always played with, and I mentioned this briefly during one of the last rounds of upgrades for the spring campaign, but I planned to mention it if I needed to do it again, is that if I cut a card during a campaign, I get refunded that experience, which I can use on something else. As such, since Guided by the Unseen is a level 3 card, I'll get refunded 3 experience. That, plus the 1 experience still floating, gives me 4 experience, and that's enough to take Eon Chart level 4. Now, with that mild ramble out of the way, let's actually go through Eon Chart level 4. So it's still a Seeker Rogue multi-class card. Agility, Lore, and a wild card on commit. Still 2 resources to play. Still 3 secrets. During your turn, exhaust Eon Chart and spend 1 secret. Choose and take 2 of the following actions, in any order. Move, evade, or investigate. Now, I mention this every time I play Eon Chart, even at level 1. But if you don't take an evade action with that, if you're engaged with an enemy, you will trigger an attack of opportunity because of the way it's worded. It's telling you to actually take the action. So Ursula's special ability, where she can take an investigate action once per round after moving, works the exact same way. So we do need to be careful of that. And the level 1 version of Eon Chart has been amazing for us so far in this campaign, helping us to keep a lot of our mobility issues in check. But anyway, that's Mandy's upgrades. Now let's go say hello to Jacqueline. Hello, Jacqueline. I'm a lot warmer to leaving you as a 6/8 and leaving your mental trauma in place than I was to leaving Mandy as a 5/8 with a physical trauma, but I'm still not going to do it. The next scenario coming up is hard enough, and I'd rather not pour gasoline on the fire by coming in with a trauma. So 4 of Jacqueline's experience is going into clearing her mental trauma. As for her last experience, I've never really liked Rite of Seeking in the Mystic Clover toolkit, though Jacqueline is able to avoid the negative effects better thanks to her special ability. There's also a very strong Mystic event that, until recently, had been a 1-of in Jacqueline's deck, since I had most of my other copies tied up. I've since dismantled those decks, and I got several copies of it back. So now we're going to make Spectral Razor the 2-of it should have been from the start of the campaign. I've used it plenty of times in even this campaign, but for the benefit of anyone brand new to the channel and game, let's take a quick look at Spectral Razor. So Spectral Razor is a 2-cost to play, will and combat on commit. Fight, add your will value to your skill value for this attack. Immediately before the attack, you may engage the attacked enemy. This attack deals +1 damage, +2 instead if the enemy is non-elite. So that will do it for upgrades. If I can ever get Rite of Seeking unsleeved, there we go. So with upgrades done, let's move back up top for the tarot reading. With upgrades done, we've got the tarot deck right here in shot, so we'll give this a quick shuffle. And to cut, and there are 2 cards for this week. First up we find the Tower 16. Each investigator chooses 1 basic weakness in their deck and removes it from the game. Return them after the game ends on the good side, or the bad, add 1 random basic weakness to each investigator's deck. Remove them after the game ends. Then the second card we have the Hierophant 5. During the first will test each investigator performs each round, they get +1 will on the good side. Or on the bad, during the first will test each investigator performs each round, they get -1 will. Oh, this is a decision. Because that means Jacqueline is going to be at a base will of 4 for the first test. If we flip the Hierophant 5. Mandy would be at a base of 2, which isn't catastrophic, but given that the first test of the round is likely to be in the Mythos phase, I'm not sure I want to be that vulnerable to the deck, to the Mythos deck, quite frankly. Whereas the Tower 16 giving us an extra weakness could potentially be a bit of a problem. But, Thankfully, we've actually been doing a pretty good job of being able to duck weaknesses so far in this campaign. So I guess the question is, do we take a chance on continuing to duck weaknesses, or do we want to take one out of our deck and play it safe? I think we're going to live a little bit on the edge, and I'm going to flip the Tower 16, which means we'll add 1 random basic weakness to each investigator's deck, and we'll remove them after the game ends. So in order to get us weaknesses, we need to go to a different shot. So I will be right back while I set that shot up. I've got my iPad here for something of a test shot that I've been meaning to do. So I've been meaning to play around with featuring iPad games on the channel, but I wanted to do a test shot or a test recording with a smaller iPad game first. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to get an app-based game on the channel with my iPad, so this is my first opportunity that I've had to record with the iPad. But anyway, let's go ahead and get these Tower 16 weaknesses out of the way. So we'll zoom in just a little bit, and then we'll draw Mandy's first. Mandy, I don't think, okay, she doesn't have Stupor because I've got the list of weaknesses over there, so I'll grab it out of my binder. Stupor. Ah! Here we go. Alright, so Stupor. Revelation, put it into play in your threat area. Stupor can be healed as if it were a single point of horror on you. If it's healed, discard it. Forced, after you take a parlay, draw, or investigate action, you cannot take any of those types of actions for the remainder of the turn. Oh, that could be a big problem. But we'll have to just be careful of that for Mandy. And then Jacqueline's Power 16 weakness is Ectoplasmic Horror. Is that one she can even take? That might be a Scarlet Keys weakness. I will have to look, though. Yeah. And look at that, it's actually a Mystic weakness. So we get to play with a Scarlet Keys weakness. 2s across the board, and this is a Mystic Investigator Hunter. The first time you reveal a cast token when attacking or attempting to evade an ectoplasmic horror, reveal an additional token for each empty arcane slot you have. Yikes. Okay, that could be a big problem, but anyway, that's in Jacqueline's deck now, so we'll have to be very careful with that. But anyway, that will do it for resolving tarot weaknesses. Now we've got a small product unboxing in this video, so let's go ahead and get into that. We've got another product here from another delivery, I should say, from LCG Tokens. So this should be another set of brass-backed tokens. Let's see what's all in here. We open that from here, it looks like. Oh boy, okay, this is gonna be a bit of a problem, but look at that. Goes up, and this will work. Okay, take a quick peek at the invoice. Okay. Need the other sign to be probably. Alright, we've got more brass-backed tokens. So first we've got more of the Exhaustion Tokens. I've actually been really liking these tokens with the mats from Board Game Solutions. One thing you might have noticed is with sleeved cards, it's kind of hard to turn a lot of those cards sideways when you exhaust them. So I've been using these tokens to help me keep those straight. So we've got those, and then we've got another set. Then we've got a set of player tokens from LCG Tokens. You're probably wondering, Phoenix Knight, you've already got a set of action tokens from Etsy. Or not from Etsy, from Orbits. Why do you need another set of tokens? Well, though I use those tokens from Orbits to cover actions. What these will be for, and I'll have to sort those out, what these will be for is they'll be for the... On the locations, a lot of them have once per game effects on them. So what I can do with these tokens is I can use these to track which investigators have done those effects. So that way I can look at some of the locations, like anything coming up in the fall and later in this campaign, I can be like, okay, I'll put a secret marker down here to remind me that Mandy's done this, or a mystic to remind me that Jacqueline's done this, or from earlier campaigns similarly. If I ever run a situation where I do a double class, which I could do with double mystic fairly easily, use the splash classes there. Say I decide to run, for example, Luke and Agnes at some point for some reason. I could use the mystic for one of them and then use a splash class for the other. But anyway, that's a mild ramble on that. But that will do it for this video. Sunday we'll continue the fall campaign with the sixth scenario of the Circle Undone campaign, Return to Union and Disillusion. Before that, come join me on Twitch tomorrow night as we continue our game of Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.